So I'm Lucinda. I am 29 years old and I am currently working as a sales operations associate with a genetics company. So I work in the field of science. Um, I also do princess parties for children on the weekend because it's fun. Um, and yeah, so last year I was going through a bit of a hard time emotionally and um, I started looking into like more spiritual kind of stuff, and then Shimrit's advert popped up on Facebook, and I didn't really know what coaching was or anything, but I clicked on it, and we had a call, and you just seemed so great and lovely, and seemed to know what you were doing, and I really needed some help, so I signed up, and it was the best decision I ever made, and I'll keep saying that forever. Definitely best decision ever. Because I had anxiety and depression since I was a teenager. I knew I had depression the whole time, but I didn't know I had anxiety until I was an adult and I actually realized what anxiety is and that I was overthinking all the time. And actually, now I could say that I don't really have those anymore. And I also have fibromyalgia, but again, I don't really get the symptoms anymore because I've got my anxiety, depression under control and that they're basically non-existent anymore. And that's all thanks to what I learned with you on the course. Um, and it took a lot of practice to implement it, but yeah, definitely now I'm so much happier. And I think one of the major things that it helped with as well was my relationships, because I always had really toxic relationships where I would give and overgive and never receive anything back, and people would take advantage of me. And now I have good standards and I will not settle for any less. And I know my worth and I have better self esteem. And it actually shows as well, like people comment and say, oh, you've got your sparkle back now. And they can see that I'm a lot more confident. And yeah, it was just the best thing I've done for myself. And like, if I could go back in time and do it earlier, then I would, because it's so worth it.
That's amazing. Everything that you just said is absolutely amazing. And this last comment or statement, what you just said about doing it sooner, thank you for saying that, because sometimes it takes us time, and that's okay, because everything has its right time, and you need to be confident with your decisions. But then there are some decisions that it's hard to feel totally confident with, because you don't know, you step into the unknown and you kind of gamble with the investment that you do, with the commitment that you make, with putting your trust with someone that you don't know or some people that you don't know. And so you can put off and postpone and put it on a hold to take such a step that can then really change your life. So just what you said is so powerful. I'm so thankful that you said that. Because yeah, I'm the kind of person, I'm a go-getter. I'm like, oh, I want it now. I can't wait for better and worse. Patience is not, in that sense, is not my my strength, I guess, but it is a strength, and on the flip side as well, because you need some courage. You need some courage to jump and to take leaps of faith and go into the unknown and go in for yourself. So thank you for saying that, and thank you for sharing all this. Another thing that you said that is amazing is the reflection or impact of these internal changes on your physical body, on your health. So maybe it's worth even saying a little bit more about that. This is something that we actually, in our previous interviews, you've mentioned it before, we never kind of lingered on this, but I've heard you say this, I think now second time, and I'm curious to know, when did you notice first that those symptoms are, disappearing or getting smaller or less frequent, or if you can share a little bit more about that, because that's amazing.
Yeah, so for those who don't know what fibromyalgia is, it's a collection of symptoms that doctors don't really know what causes it, and they don't really know how to treat it. They can treat the individual symptoms, but they never treat the cause because they don't know what it is. And it involves like muscle pain, joint pain, headaches, depression, and a whole bunch of other things like stomach issues and stuff like that. So I've had it since I was 11 years old, but when it was at its worst was when I was at university and I was in a really terribly toxic relationship. And the stomach pains would get so bad that I thought I was dying, and I'd go to the hospital and they'd say, no, it's just cramps. So that's how bad it could get. And then when my ex-boyfriend left me in 2019, I forgot when it was, I kind of went a little bit crazy with my social life and I didn't stop, and that took a toll as well because I was just go, didn't want to be alone, didn't know how to be alone, was really uncomfortable alone, and so I was out all the time. I was burning the candle at both ends, so it was quite bad then as well. And when I met Shimmer, I had just started dating somebody else who also wasn't that great, and slightly better but not great. And that was stressing me out as well, and stress is a massive trigger for fibromyalgia. So yeah, I think what I really noticed was when I started to do regular meditations and when I started to do the kind of thought change processes, that's when my symptoms started to get better because the stress was instantly reduced, because I was living more in the present moment. I wasn't worrying about the future. Every time I thought, what if, then I'd change it. And that was a really simple but really powerful tool that you teach. So instead of what if, it's okay if, or even if. So that was one of the main things that really helped keep my stress levels down. And then also just knowing that everything would work out fine, no matter what happened, everything would be okay, and just go with the flow sort of thing. And also your metaphor of the river of awareness was another really good one, and like taking a step out of it and not getting swept away with your thoughts. Yeah, so it's everything that reduced my anxiety, everything that reduced my stress levels, then reduced my symptoms. And I think because my confidence grew as well, and I started to look after myself more and love myself, so I was more concerned about what I was putting into my body, and I was eating better, and I was going regular exercising, and like all of these factors together just made everything better. I'd say probably a few months after we worked together, then I would say that I kind of woke up one day and was like, I don't really have a problem anymore. So it's been,
I have chills.
yeah, it's been almost a year, I suppose, where I've been loads better. And considering I'm 29 now and I've been suffering since I was 11 years old, that's a long time. So again, like if I could go back and do this sooner, then I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything happens for a reason, and the lessons that I've learned along the way,
Yeah.
you know, they're valuable. But if I could give advice to anybody if they're on the fence about doing this now or waiting, no, just do it now because it's not worth waiting.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I have chills as you share your story. And again, today we're covering something that we haven't so much talked about, like the physical, the health aspect. And you're not the only one, you know, Aaron, which you know very well. And he will be with us, I think on Monday, I don't remember, or Sunday. Also, he was taking medications for 15 years for a chronic health condition. And then he said, oh, what happens now when I feel better if I stop medications? And he stopped and nothing happened, no symptoms. So this is mind blowing to me. I'm not surprised, but still it's mind blowing every year how the body and our health, which is like the most important thing, the fundamental thing of our well-being, well, on one level, is affected so rapidly. Like if you take from 11 to 29, then what is a few months? It's so rapid. So that's amazing. And you've mentioned a few things that have helped you in this work, the meditation, some thought processes and shifts. Can you talk a little bit more about the work itself and what has been most, helpful or transformational for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically my whole life I hated myself, didn't think I was worth anything. Only if I was doing something for somebody else was I worth something. And so one of the first things that you told me to do, or like suggested I do, was to wake up every day and say I'm worthy of love and respect, and to go to sleep every day and say the same thing. And it felt so weird at first, and I felt really uncomfortable saying it out loud. But after even just a few days, it got a bit more normal. And then it evolved because I actually accepted what I was saying, and then I could say other things nice to myself, and look in the mirror and actually give myself a compliment and do things like that. So I had really terrible body image, but I hated all of me. There was not one thing I could say that I liked. And even I looked at a Facebook memory from like, I don't know, 5 years ago, and it was like, name one thing you like about yourself. And I was like, the only thing I can think of is my eyelashes. It's like, the smallest thing in the whole world. And I could not think of one other thing that I liked. And now I just love myself completely. So yeah, the self-love thing really, really was very powerful. And then on top of that, the deep meditations, healing like past traumas and forgiveness, that was really, really effective. I know I mentioned earlier about the really toxic relationship I had when I was at university, and there was no possible way that I would ever forgive this person for what he did. And I used to have nightmares. And so the relationship had ended about 3 years previous to me meeting you, and I was still having nightmares about him coming back into my life. And then we did that deep meditation around the campfire, and then visualizing that I was around the campfire with the men that had wronged me, or I felt had wronged me, and forgiving them. And I still couldn't forgive him during that meditation, but I could forgive the others, and that was very healing. And then one day I was driving along and I realized that I had forgiven this person, because I realized he's only human and he has his own traumas, and he wasn't necessarily doing it on purpose. And I forgave him, and I thought, wow, I could not have done that before. Definitely couldn't. And I don't have nightmares anymore at all. And if I do have a dream about him, then it's not an anxiety dream, and it's not stressful. And I just kind of just blank past it even. So yeah, it was almost like a PTSD dream before, and that's just completely gone now, which is amazing.
It is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And you've mentioned dreams, and this is one of the things that we use, right? In the program, we work with dreams quite a lot. And this is something powerful that we do also in the group sessions. And when you and I started, we actually started before we even had group sessions in the program. So you really experience the evolution. And I always say that this program always evolves. So whenever you're in the program, you get to witness and enjoy the additions and evolution. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that, about how the group sessions and and the evolution, or whatever you have to say around that aspect of the program and how you've experienced it.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, when I started with you, we just had the one-to-one sessions. We didn't have anything else. And then when you brought on the group sessions, it was really nice to have that little community and support from each other, and to realize that we're actually all fairly similar and have similar kind of problems that we're working through, and we don't feel so alone then. And I remember one specific call where there was just a few of us girls, and we all had a really long chat, and it was really powerful and helpful, and I really enjoyed it. And I did really enjoy all of the group sessions, and then also when you brought on the astrology sessions, that was just mind-blowing. I was like, how is this person sitting here and telling me everything about myself that even my best friend might not even know? Just from having my birthday and where I was born and the time. And he just told me everything about myself, even to the point where you love learning things and you get bored really quickly when you're not learning new things. I was like, how can you tell that just from doing some maths on my birthday? But that really helped me find my path and my direction as well, because it was like it put everything into a very succinct perspective for me, where like I know myself, but to have someone tell me in kind of like a bullet point fashion, and this is why, and that really helped me make some life decisions, which was really good. um and then I had a couple of sessions with Lee on the dream work as well, which was so super interesting. And that was only recent. And I was having dreams all the time about someone or something trying to kill me. Okay. And I came to her with this, and she said, okay, well, that sounds like you're trying to run away from something. And so she suggested that instead of me trying to run away or trying to fight it, which was the other option that I was doing, she said, just turn around and give it a hug and ask it who it is. And I said, okay, I'll try it. So the next time, which was about 2 or 3 days after I spoke to her, I did it and it worked. And so it was the dream was about this man was trying to cut me open with a scalpel. So I was running away, obviously. And then I remembered what Lee had said. And because I already knew how to lucid dream and how to not control my dreams, but like just change the scenario a little bit, I realized what was happening. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna try this. Turned around, gave the man a hug, and he turned from like a really skinny, pointy, kind of crazy looking man into like a big jolly ginger happy man. And I was like, okay, well, that's better. And then I asked who they were, and he just said he was some kind of negative emotions. So I was running away from some kind of negative emotions, and I wish I knew exactly what he said. I can't remember, but I have not had any dreams of people trying to kill me since then. And that has been like 5 months of dreams of things trying to kill me. So that was so powerful.
Incredible. And I haven't heard this story yet. So I know that you've had sessions with Lee, and I know that that was amazing. And I know that Lee is amazing, and we've done together some amazing and transformational dream work together. But that is amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. And yes, what you can do with dreams, either for healing, like what you're just sharing, or for receiving guidance, or just for adventure and fun in the dream world. And we do this together in the workshop, in the program, in our group sessions, in our one-on-one sessions. We have Lee, we have Danielle, who also teaches how to lucid dream, and myself as well. We are all very much into dream work. So I'm so excited to hear that you've had this experience. Maybe before we kind of end our interview, you can share, you mentioned some big life decisions, and I know that you've made some huge strides in changes in your life as a result of all this transformation. So maybe you can share a little bit and give some examples of, new outcomes. We've been talking in the program about changing or creating new outcomes in your life when you create those internal changes. So maybe you can give some examples for that.
Yeah, so because I was such a massive people pleaser, I was quite happy in my job because I was supporting a team. So they would tell me to do something and I would do it, and then I'd be happy because I'd done something for them. But now I'm not anymore. And that satisfaction, I just don't have it in my job now, because I want to do my own thing. And I'm happier when I can put myself first. And so I'm a very different person now, and perhaps not suited to this role anymore. And I wanted to think of something where I could continually learn all the time, so I wouldn't get bored, and also help people, and also do it in a way where I was like in control of what was happening, and doing it on my own terms. So then after working with Shimrit, I thought, you know what, coaching might be the best thing. So then I started learning to become a coach. And I love it so much. And I'd love to do it full time, but it's so good. It's like one of the best things I've ever learned how to do, and helping people that way has just been really, really fulfilling. And on top of that, I wanted to write as well. I wanted to do some writing. So I started writing a book, and I wrote about 50,000 words in a month, because I was just so motivated. But I did put it down. I need to pick it up again and carry on doing it. But I'd like to publish that at some point. And I probably would write some other books as well, maybe some self-help ones, maybe some more fiction, because the one that I've been doing is kind of fiction, but also based on my life. Yeah, that's the major life decisions, I suppose. And then on top of that, just having good standards and knowing that I'm happy alone has helped me make some really good decisions about people that I was dating or that wanted to date me. In particular, one recently that I went on a date with, and he suddenly became very obsessed with me, and I was like, well, that's not a good sign. And then he tried to turn something around that I'd said to him and like use it against me. And because I have that awareness now, I noticed straight away and instantly was like, I'm not talking to you anymore. And I don't feel bad about that anymore either. I used to feel bad about cutting people out. I used to feel bad about not putting them first. And now I'm not. I always put myself first now.
That's amazing. And even in your job, I believe the role has actually changed. You mentioned that you were doing a role that suited your people-pleasing personality or tendency, and now that this again internally has changed, then externally too, you have a different role. You're a supervisor, and you're earning more, working less, enjoying more. Is that right?
Yeah, unfortunately not working less
Oh,
anymore,
okay.
but yeah, so it's almost manifested, I suppose, because the job position didn't exist. And then they created it, and they promoted me to the European supervisor of the team. So now I am a manager of a team, which gives me a bit more leadership, and it gives me a bit more like I can do things and people listen to me, a bit more authority, which makes me feel better. And apparently I'm doing well so far, so that's good.
Not surprising at all. Lucinda, thank you so much again for being here and for sharing your story and for showing others what is possible when you go all in for yourself and you take that leap of faith and you don't wait for later and you do the work and you implement the tools. That's you can totally change and turn your life around on all levels. So you've shared like health-wise, professionally, relationships, in and out. So that's absolutely amazing and inspiring so much. So thank you so much. And
Thank you. Bye.